changed tomorrow and you had to start over, where would you begin? That is a question that sits at the heart of the Karen Newton ecosystem. Because wealth isn't just, it's not an event. It is not a single moment. It's not an opportunity. It's not a simple investment. It is built through belief, through structure, discipline, and consistent action over time. My name is Karen Newton. I'm a business and wealth strategist, and I help clients build an ecosystem that supports the lifestyle they've chosen. So welcome. Bonjour, hola, and ni hao. The model was simple. You go to school, you get higher education, you could get a good job, one that paid reasonably okay, save part of your wages until you retire, and hope and pray that it's enough to support you through retirement. Now, one of the problems was that this model depended on stability. And I'm someone who reads numbers. I look at statistics. I look at historical data. And I have gone back to the 1700s. And there is no such thing as a stable economy. It's a fantasy. I was going to swear, but it is a fantasy. But it is a fantasy that everybody has bought into and that everybody is expected to live to. But the problem is that you don't have control over it. And that is what Be Your Own is all about. How do you have a control? If you have one income stream and that income stream stops, what do you do? If you have one investment category that you invest in and that market goes down, what happens to your investment? Be Your Own is about shifting from dependence on a job or a investment, and it means building a system that allows you to generate income, grow wealth, make decisions based on your strategy, based on the lifestyle that you want, and not reliant on external conditions. So what are some of the Be Your Owns? Well, the first one is your income source. When you have one income source and that income source disappears, you're in trouble. And that is where a lot of people find themselves, especially we've seen it happened quite a few times in the 21st century. Back in 2008, we had the credit crunch. I mean, the banking system, according to Mervyn King, who was the Bank of England governor, we were only 15 minutes away from a total banking system worldwide collapse. People would not have had access to money. Then we had COVID. Well, the pandemic wiped out all sorts of income streams. Lots of businesses went under. And again, the people who were reliant on one single income found themselves struggling. And today, the world, we're heading into a global recession. What is a global recession going to look like? And it's going to be unlike anything that we have seen before. When we had the 2008 recession, China stepped in and supported many of the countries to help them get back on their feet. China at the time was a credit nation. That meant it was a cash-rich nation. Today, China is a debt nation, which is the same as most of the other countries in the world. It is a debt nation, and it has its own problems. There will be no reliance on China to bail out the other countries. So when this recession hits, it is going to be interesting to see how countries get themselves back towards a growth route, I suppose is the word to use there. So being your own income source is going to be particularly important for you, for your family, for your friends. Be your own business. Now, I believe that everybody should have a business. And it doesn't need to be a complicated business. I'm not saying go out there and build the next Amazon or the next Apple. Cottage industries have always been a favorite of mine because when we have recessions, we see big businesses start to implode. And when those big businesses implode, it's the smaller businesses, the cottage style industries that come to the forefront and they grow and become the future businesses, future bigger businesses. Today, with AI, cottage industries are not your traditional grow your own veg, etc. Cottage industry is a business that you can run from home on your own as a solopreneur using AI tools. And now just to explain this, okay, when I welcomed people today, I used 4 languages, okay, English, French, Spanish, and Mandarin Chinese. They are 4 languages that I wouldn't say I'm fluent, apart from English, I wouldn't say I'm fluent in the other languages, but I can speak enough to sort of survive if I were in the country. Now, I speak those languages, and I'm still learning those languages because my business is now global. The other day when I was doing the statistics for the reach of my business, I found that I was in every part of the world. Canada, US, Brazil, Argentina, Venezuela, Iraq, Israel, you've got China, Russia, Africa, Europe. My business reaches globally. But I don't have a team of 100 people or 500 people building my business for me. I am one person who uses AI. I run a cottage-based business using AI to support me. A solopreneur. Anybody can build a similar business. There is nothing that you can't do with AI. The only thing that AI can't do is be you. Business has evolved so that it now focuses on the person and what that person brings rather than the knowledge or skills that are brought to the table. Business has changed, and looking at how you pivot the business is an essential part of a cottage industry. But cottage industries today, solopreneur based with AI, they have global reach. So let's get on to the money side. Be your own bank. Now, what that means is that you create your own cash flow, right? You create your own financial stability, and you do that through structured income. Now, if you've known me for a while, if you've followed me for any length of time, you know that I always talk about multiple income streams. There are 8 different types of income. I'm not going to go into them all today. You'll find videos about them on my YouTube channel. But the idea is that we have 4 categories that we can make money in, 5, but I only teach 4. 4 categories, and within each of those categories, we can create 8 different types of income stream. So if you've got 4 and you can do 8 different types of income stream within each of those categories, how many income streams can you create? You start to take charge of your own finances. You're starting to build your own reserves. You're creating financial stability. Okay? Now, you don't need to go and do them all at once. It does take a little bit of time to build them up. But when you have that kind of broad income stream, then you're not affected so much when there are recessions and downturns. So part of the responsibility is to become your own bank. Be your own investor. Take control of how your money grows. Build your businesses. Build your shares, your crypto, your property, your other assets. Become financially educated and understand how to make money work for you rather than you working for money. Be your own security. When you have multiple income streams, when you're invested in these 4 categories, they move up and down at different times. You build security. You're building for your future. You're building resilience into everything that you do. So you be your own security. Be your own economy. So building is a self-sustaining system, excuse me, where your income, your business, your investments all work together. They interconnect. They reduce reliance on external systems, and they can create control over your financial future. So you be your own economy. So one of the systems that I use behind Be Your Own, and behind that Be Your Own philosophy. Well, number one, we've already talked about you create the income. You do that through the cottage industry, online businesses that are AI supported and are global. Build your wealth. You build your wealth through multiple income streams, through investing in the different categories and reinvesting reinvesting the profits. And then as those profits grow, as the investments grow, and you receive your dividends or you receive your income from them, you're able to support your lifestyle predominantly from what you create yourself. So Be Your Own is one of my philosophies. It's part of my ecosystem. And it's looking at how you take control of all the financial aspects of your life. So you are totally independent. You are not reliant on anyone else. You become your own economy. I'm hoping that made a bit of sense to you. You can find more information on my website at karennewton.co.uk, and think about, you build your system, you work your system, and then you let it create its magic. Have a good day.
Disclaimer: the information shared in this podcast is for educational and informational purposes only. It is not intended as financial, investment, legal, or tax advice and should not be construed as such. I am not a licensed financial advisor, and the strategies discussed are based on personal experience and general market knowledge. Always do your own research and consider your individual financial goals, risk tolerance, and personal circumstances before making any investment decisions. I strongly recommend that you consult with a qualified financial advisor or licensed professional before acting on any information discussed in this podcast. Investing involves risk, and past performance is not indicative of future results. By listening to this podcast, you agree that the host and associated entities are not responsible for any losses or damages arising from the use of this content.